US1 Radio News Time is coming up on 7:52. Morning Magazine with Bill Becker continues.
And joining us right now is our Congressman Carlos Curbelo. Good morning, Mr. Curbelo.
Bill, good morning to you and to Chuck from the Capitol today.
Morning, Congressman.
Appreciate you joining us. Boy, the controversy is swirling over the separation of families at the border and the children being put in detention camps practically. What's happening in Washington? What's the feeling on this one?
Bill, I've always opposed the policy of separating families. And this goes back to previous administrations as well. The Obama administration was criticized for deporting the parents of a small U.S. citizen children. And this policy that we're seeing carried out today is also one that should be criticized. And I've encouraged the administration to end this policy immediately because nothing good happens when small children are separated from their parents. Now, the administration is looking for a legislative fix, and we're trying to provide that as well, which is why we included it in the bill we filed yesterday, the Border Security and Immigration Reform Act of 2018, which we hope will get a vote later this week, and we hope will pass out of the House. That bill contains a provision that allows the government to do two things, both of which are very important. Number one, enforce our country's immigration laws because our country has the right and the responsibility of securing the border and enforcing our laws. And number two, keeping families together. If someone enters the country illegally with their children, we should keep that family together, and we should give that family priority when processing their immigration cases. So I think we can achieve both things, but only through a legislative fix. The challenge right now for the government is that they've decided to prosecute every single person who enters the country illegally. That's the so-called zero-tolerance policy. And when you prosecute adults, right now the law requires the children to be separated from them. That's what we're trying to change. We want to keep families together. We know instinctively that that's always the right thing to do. And more broadly, we want a solution on immigration. And this Border Security and Immigration Reform Act of 2018 is the solution the country needs, and here are the reasons why. Number one, it secures the border. We've been hearing people talk about that for years and years and years about how we need to secure the border, and we know that still today drug traffickers, human traffickers are very active in the southwest border, and a lot of their operations are never disrupted by law enforcement because we simply don't have the resources or the technology we need. So it achieves that. Number two, it provides a fair solution for the DACA population, the dreamer population, these young immigrants who were brought to the country as children, grew up in our country, went to school with our own kids, pledged allegiance to our flag, today are working and contributing to this country. They deserve certainty. They deserve a future in our country, and this bill does that. It gives them the rest of their lives in the United States, and it also offers them a bridge onto the legal immigration system. As we said before, the bill ends this policy of family separation and empowers the government to enforce our immigration laws in a humane and responsible way. And lastly, it reforms our visa system to better align our immigration system with the needs of our economy. There are a lot of jobs in our country that go unfilled because our immigration system isn't flexible, because we don't have enough employment-based visas. That changes under this bill as well. So I'm strongly encouraging both Republicans and Democrats to take a good look at this legislation and hopefully to bring themselves to the point where they can support it. We know immigration is an emotional issue. A lot of members consider it a risky issue politically. This is a time to take risks for our country, for communities like South Florida, fix this immigration system once and for all.
Are these children being held hostage to the border wall? I mean, does your legislation include a border wall?
We include $25 billion in funding for border security. Some of that will be for physical barriers. Some of that will be for technologies, drones, watchtowers. Some of that will be for roads and bridges along the border. And recently, we made a change to the bill so that some of those funds can be used to build detention facilities that are suited for families, where children can have an educational program, be treated humanely, make sure they get their meals. The goal here is to empower the government to both enforce our country's immigration laws and treat even those who enter the country illegally, treat them humanely, and make sure that they're safe while they're here and awaiting a determination of what their immigration cases will be.
Have you gotten any indication that the White House is changing its tune on this, or is the president just doubling down on this?
Well, the president admitted to us yesterday in a meeting that his daughter Ivanka approached him about this and told him that she wanted to see an end to this policy. We want to provide a legislative fix, but I have also, Bill, asked for the administration to halt this policy, at least while Congress is trying to find a legislative solution. So I certainly hope that they're moving in that direction. In my view, this was another reckless decision by Jeff Sessions, and I'm hopeful that it will be reversed one way or the other, either by legislative action or through executive action.
Yesterday, Senator Bill Nelson and Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz were denied access to the federal detention facility in Homestead. This is a federal facility, and they're federally elected officials.
That's right, and that was very disappointing, I'd say troubling, and I am now trying to get an appointment to go in and inspect that facility and see exactly what's going on there. But I do think that any time a member of Congress shows up at one of these facilities, they should be granted access. I mean, it's the Congress that funds all of these government departments, and the administration should welcome members into these facilities, make sure they know exactly what's going on there so that we can explain it to our constituents. I think that was a mistake. I hope they're allowed in eventually. They should be. And I certainly will be attempting to visit when I return to Miami.
Well, we'll certainly keep an eye on this situation. Congressman Carlos Curbelo, thank you for joining us. Always appreciate it.
Thank you, Bill. You all have a good day.
You too. Take care. Bye now.